Yeah.
Actually, Todd, they would
Yeah,
have
see if you
gotten
can-
big. They would
Todd.
have gotten big listeners.
Todd, yeah, Todd, Todd, see if you can find anybody there at the station to thank. All right. And good morning. We are in touch this morning as we have members of the 9/11 Coalition in with us. The 9/11 ride coming up, of course, on September 11th. We have Tank Baird with us. We have Gary Smith. Also, we have County Sheriff Mark Lusk and Chief Todd Winder from the Clinton Township Fire Department. And, well, we're getting ready for another great ride this year. And first of all, we appreciate you guys coming in and talking about this. Getting geared up for another big ride this year, and I think what we'll do is we'll talk a little bit about the history of it first, because this thing started off very small, and now here it is.
Absolutely. Well, and as we've said before, the history is basically that Don Miller and myself 12 years ago were. We were like all of America. We were faced with watching this horrific event happen on TV, and after a couple of days, I don't think we could stand it anymore. So we tried. We made a few calls, and we just had the idea of a motorcycle ride, and it was a protest ride, that first ride, and I think it was within 24 to 48 hours. We agreed on a place, and we just opened it up for bikers to show up, and they did. And that first ride was about 85 riders. Don had an idea that was kind of strange to us at first, which was a police escort, and he made some calls, and lo and behold, we had the city police show up. It was right across from the federal building in downtown Williamsport, and we went out for what amounted to a protest ride.
Right. And since then, it's just grown such leaps and bounds. Unbelievable.
It has. I think the fifth anniversary, like anniversaries do, just sort of put this thing real. I pulled up in the Wegmans parking lot, and I had Anita on the back of the bike, and I said, "Is there something else going on today other than this ride?" I was very surprised at the number of the riders. I think we were over 500 riders at that point.
Wow. And to where it's grown now, I mean, a few years ago, I don't know how many thousand riders you had. It was crazy.
Well, last year, guys, it was what?
4,337 registered riders.
Yeah, that was registered.
Unbelievable. So here we are coming up to this year, and, well, last year didn't get a chance to go through the city of Williamsport. This year, it's going back through the city of Williamsport. Let's talk a little bit about the route.
It is. We're going to, like in other years, we're going to take a left on West Southern Avenue in South Williamsport, which will put us in position to go through Du Bois Town and cross the Abe Howard Memorial Bridge and into Newberry. And from that point down Arch Street, and we'll make a right-hand turn on 3rd Street and go all the way down through Williamsport. So really, that's the biggest slice of town that we've done in a while.
Right. And that's awesome. I mean, to be able to have it go through the city, and the people that are out there. I mean, just and we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. That we definitely want people to be out there if they're not going to ride. That we want people to be out there supporting this, but. I think what we'll talk about the nuts and bolts of this first. Obviously, it's going to be on September 11th again. We'll talk about, of course, meeting at the Clinton Township Fire Hall in that area, and it'll start from there. And well, let's talk about times and that kind of thing as to anybody who might be riding in it.
Want to take that, Gary?
Sure, we'll be actually there from 9 o'clock in the morning on. So those from out of the area, you can show up earlier. We will park your bikes. There are going to be vendors there, food, all sorts of things set up. And the service actually at 5 o'clock, we're actually going to shut down registration temporarily to prepare for the 5:30 memorial service. And then immediately after at 6 p.m. promptly will be kickstands up. So when we come back, if you had not registered, we're asking you please to fill out a registration form. That way we know who's riding in that. and we can keep in touch with you because we have bigger and better things planned for the future. So we're just trying to, one, we want a safe ride, a fun ride, but above all, memorial ride, because we're there to honor those that gave their life and to remember those that daily risk their lives for us.
Right. And how can you register ahead of time? Can you register ahead of time?
We're online on our website. You can actually go to the site and register at www.memorialcoalition.org and pull down a registration form, fill it out online, and zap it in.
Okay. Now, there were so many different agencies and so many different people that have to come together to put this ride together. And I mean, let's recognize them. Let's talk a little bit about what their roles are in that. And someone
one right here.
Yep, I know.
Sheriff-
Well, we have the sheriff right here, and
Well, Sheriff Mark Lusk is our law enforcement coordinator. He is taking care of all the logistics and that. So, Sheriff Lusk?
I think the first year that Tank mentioned, I was down at the federal building and I watched it, and it looked like an appropriate ride. It was clearly a protest ride and a lot of anger from what had happened with 9/11. And each year, as I was watching the parade, obviously I became more interested. I hadn't yet become sheriff. I was still actually the chief of police of the Lycoming PD. And I started to get more interest, and I was trying to think this morning before I came in where my first contact was, because I know all three of these gentlemen here who have been a main part of this committee.
right.
I did what I do best. I bring together the law enforcement component when something needs to happen in this county. I hate to say it, but I'm the mentor now. I'm the senior law enforcement officer in the county. Stop smiling, John.
A young senior,
I just have that ability to bring the law enforcement component together, and in a ride like this, it's so important that safety is our number one concern with respect to once the ride begins.
Sure.
We don't want an accident. We don't want anybody injured. And what we've done is we brought literally about a dozen law enforcement agencies together, including the Lycoming County government, who obviously supports this, and the law enforcement component, police departments in the municipalities where there are PDs, and then the fire police component, who come out in huge numbers to make sure these intersections are safe and the ride can travel and people can watch it.
And they do a great job too, because it takes a while for that ride to come through.
Well, it's interesting. This ride, when I looked at the ride, from my perspective, it started as a memorial ride, but I also look at it as a living tribute to not only who we've lost,
Sure.
but who serve in the military in uniform with fire, rescue, EMS, police, and everyone who puts their lives on the line every single day in this county, in this state, and in the country. And it's an incredible show of support in the effort to never, as we've all tried to make sure happens, we never forget 9/11.
Right. And it's an awesome tribute for sure.
And I'll say this, that this ride is very unique in the fact that we're riding 42 miles this ride, and the riders should not have to stop along that entire route. And that's we feel that's the safest way to run this ride, where we get away from a lot of starting and stopping, and that's due to the police and fire in this county. And we're very grateful, because frankly, I would not run this ride if it was otherwise.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. Yeah, you can't have things broken up.
And along that line, we're talking about safety and security. And in the past, we've had a few issues, fortunately very few, of people trying to show off on their motorcycles. And we want to remember, this is a memorial ride. At the end of this, we're going to come back and celebrate our freedoms, etc. That I encourage anybody that's riding, talk to your buddy, tell them, hey, let's not pull wheelies on this. Let's show the respect that are due these people that gave their all for us, that we have the right to ride in this ride. So I'm asking all the motorcyclists to, tone it down. Let's show the best face of to our community.
I think I'd like to throw something in there real quick myself,
Sure, yeah,
too,
absolutely.
because I mean, obviously the motorcyclists who are in it, let's show their respect. But people who are maybe sitting in traffic waiting for the ride to come through, let's show your respect too. I mean, just be patient, and if you're going somewhere, that It's going to come through, so plan some extra time for your travel, or get there early, or do whatever. Don't try to rush things.
I think it's a tribute or a credit to the people in this region that over actually 13 rides now, they have been very patient. We've gotten very few complaints. People seem to get it here. They seem to understand what we're doing, and we have taken some bad press in the past about that the riders look like it's a celebration or something going down the road, and we wrestled for years with this. We have what the people don't see from curbside, or the people that might want to criticize, is that we've already had the memorial service. There's been tears shed. There's been, it just gives you chills sometimes when you hear the national anthem and, the whole thing. And we get on those motorcycles, and almost immediately the people on the street begin cheering and waving American flags and holding up signs. And it's very difficult. I think we've taken the lead from, we have two, we have Reverend Smith here, and we have Father Mano. And we've taken that lead to try to be appropriate and whatever when we ride as well. But it's come right down to the fact that people want to celebrate at that point.
Sure.
They seeing the riders, and this is how it is an awesome sight.
Yeah, and paying tribute. I mean, that's part of it. I mean, being able to do that, and that kind of leads me into my next deal here, where you've got all these riders, but you definitely want people to come out, and you want people
Absolutely.
to get out on the streets and to wave their American flags and to pay tribute.
I know we've even seen at some of the nursing homes along the Octarians, or people that are wheelchair bound, they have brought them out, and they're sitting there in their pink hats waving flags, and hospitals, and it has just year by year grown and grown. And none of this could really take place, one, without the spectators, the curbside, the people promoting this, and secondly, if it wasn't for Chief Winder, and I don't know if this was good or bad on his side, but when we went over to see him, we had run out of room. We had no place to go in this area large enough that could accommodate this number of bikes. So when we stopped by, and he said, well, yeah, he'd do it. We looked at one another, and now he's sort of in the hot seat because he's got it all. So, Chief?
Well, yeah, me and my big mouth. I couldn't think of a better organization to be part of, and I'm very proud that the department I'm fortunate to be chief of took on this project. Tank every year would come and bother the bejesus out of me because to make sure we had an intersection covered and that sort of thing. And I always told him, you only really need to tell us once. I said it's okay to follow up, but not every 10 minutes.
And even though it was like getting into a bear den with this guy, I did it anyhow.
But they came to us and said about blocking intersections and stuff in our area, and we said of course we'd do it, and that it was getting larger and larger about 4 or 5 years ago, and they were running out of room at Memorial Park or Bowman Field in that parking lot where they started from, and
Right.
and just my own nature, I just half jokingly I said, well, you could start here, but it'd be a short ride to the VFW in Du Bois Town. And the two of them looked at me kind of funny and started to talk about going a reverse direction. And I said, I don't really ride a motorcycle at the time. I didn't have one. And I said, I wouldn't want to ride left, making all these left turns. And they were saying, boy, it'd be a great place to start. Where would we end? And this sort of stuff. And again, my big mouth, I just said, well, why don't you just start and stop here? Then you don't got to move stuff from where you start to where you end. And that's how our fire company kind of got involved. And we've been amazed at the outpouring of it. And the best part of it, I think, being at my fire station, is that I've had the opportunity to see the memorial service, as Tank and Gary had alluded to. There's parking available at the high school and stuff for people that aren't on motorcycles that want to just walk down over the hill and be part of it. But if you have the opportunity to take part in the memorial service at the fire station, I think you'll have a better understanding of the meaning of the ride. The ride itself is just the visual part, the protest, the celebration of American freedom and the American spirit. But the memorial service, the fallen heroes cards that Father Mano and Labels by Policy put together were they bless the whole process through it, and
Right.
the riders are given cards with names of people that have gave their lives either in the initial attacks or in the different war efforts since then. And that's what this ride is about, that we're riding in memory of people that kept us safe, tried to keep us safe, and kept us free. And I think people don't realize that, as Tank said, we get the people that say, oh, it's just another bike parade, and it's not.
No, it's not,
It
no.
couldn't be farther from the truth.
And real quickly too, because I've been down there at the fire company, just kind of taking pictures and stuff before the bike ride and before the ride and everything, and I'll tell you what, the businesses and some of the property owners around there have been really good with helping out, because you've completely outgrown the fire company. Too, so.
We permit to close Route 54 in front of us, and Bill Schneck from Hallsizer Chevrolet graciously gives up a lot of his parking and business, and the businesses in the area, like John Shrimp, the manager at the Montgomery Wise store, we overtake about 2/3 of his parking lot each year, and D&M Tool and Machine up the street they're just very supportive of the ride, and we appreciate that, because we couldn't pull it off without being able to do what we do there. And then you have Thad's Place that is also part of the ride as a vendor that serves some food, and Subway in the area. We kind of take over the block there, and it's quite an event.
Right, and it really is. And real quickly, the route for this ride, it does begin at the Clinton Township Fire Hall. It goes 54 to Route 15. Route 15 into South Williamsport on West Southern Avenue, West Southern to Riverside Drive to Du Bois Town onto Art Street, which of course the Newly Bridge dedicated to Corporal Abram Howard, and then you've got onto West 3rd Street in Williamsport, continue on 3rd Street through Williamsport, Loyalsock into Montoursville, and then out Lycoming Mall Drive, Route 220 North into Hughesville, 405 South into Muncie, and back into Montgomery, and then back to the Clinton Township Fire Hall.
And that same map that you're looking at right now is available on our website, and you should be seeing it hopefully the Web Weekly, the Williamsport Sun Gazette. We're getting this out as part of our deal with PennDOT too, that we publicize the ride route for those that want to participate and those that want to avoid.
Okay.
We ask the vehicular traffic, John, not come into the ride. Be patient.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's very dangerous when cars get into the middle of the ride and bikes have to slow down. So we ask the folks to be really aware that day and just stop along the road or stop at an intersection and watch it, because it's an incredible sight.
Yeah, absolutely. Wait till it goes by. Wait till everybody goes by.
And we're going by Penn College for the first time in a few years, so we encourage everyone at Penn College to come out and line the route and cheer us on and bring your cameras.
And I might want to ask the 3rd Street United Methodist Church has been ringing their bells every year when we go by, and it's just again, it gives you chills when you come up, and usually there's a crowd in front of the church, and we'd like to encourage that any of the congregations on the route to maybe gather at their church or ring their bell, or just Bethany Lutherans had a bell choir out there. It's the people on the street. The riders are just part of this. The people on the street supporting this ride is really it's twofold. It's what makes the ride. It's what the bikers all talk about when they come back to the fire hall, is who they saw on the street or what group, or it's a great relationship.
Right. Yeah, it really is. And one more time, the website is at 911memorialcoalition.org, and you've got pretty much any information you need to know. If you need to know how to get into the ride, if you need to know what's going on with it, that kind of thing, go to the website and check it out.
And bring your flags.
And bring your flags.
Flags are
absolutely
incredible sight.
Yes,
absolutely. Yes. All right, we appreciate you guys being in touch with us this morning. Good luck with the 9/11 Memorial Bike Ride once again this year, and of course in the years in the future.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, John.